What is going on, guys? Like I said, I was gonna go over individually with Andy and Brian on what their best, worst, favorite moments were with the trip, just to recap for you guys to kind of bring you in on everything that happened. So, I think him and I are gonna have the same worst moment, just going out on a limb there. But that was like kind of a coming home for you because you have a lot of history. Brian's like family to you. You're friends with a lot of those guys. You spent a lot of time out in that area. So what was your best favorite overall view of how do you feel about that whole trip?
Man, so much fun stuff happened, so much good stuff. Nick talked about in one of his previous videos, we went to kind of a local mom and pop joint right when we got into Colorado. We got the rental car and drove straight over to Boulder. We were trying to go to Big City Burrito, but they all closed down. There's one in Fort Collins and I think one in Greeley, and we weren't gonna drive up there. So we went to, I guess the next best thing for me, Cafe Mexicali. I used to go there probably once a month when I was working in Boulder. And man, that place is just so good. So that started, the weather was beautiful, the sun was out, you know, CU's campus was right there, so like the females were out, you know, for the people that like that type of thing. Dirty old man.
Dirty Andy.
So I mean, it started off great, and then hanging out, we went to Old Seas, Old Chicago. That's another, I think that might be a national chain, but I know there's a bunch of them in Colorado. So I got to show these guys another joint that's in Colorado that I used to go to quite a bit. And then just going over to Brian and Carrie's and spending time hanging out, you know, busting chops. Whenever Carrie and I get together, Brian loves and hates it all at the same time because we definitely team up on them, which is always fun for Carrie and I. Seeing Braxton, I hadn't seen him since March at the Arnold, so like he's a little over 2 years now.
He's a fun kid.
Man, yeah, and like that was, what, 5 months ago. So at that age, so much changed that 5 months. So getting to hang out with him and meet Kellen for the first time. He was born the first night I got into Manila to help Brian for Worlds. Brian woke me up, came pounding on my door, let me know that Kellen was just born. So that was cool to get to meet him and hang out with him. And then just training, you know, whenever I'm home, like I said in I think Brian's video, Colorado's my home. Like this, never say here is my home away from home as far as gyms go. But whenever I'm home, it's just, shut up.
Chop liver. Chop liver.
Whenever I'm home, it's always a good time with the crew out there. That crew is amazing. They're a little young, but they've come so far since September. And then just training with Brian is always mind-blowing. It's funny, people talk about seeing feats of strength and like changing the way they look at what's reality. And like I saw that up close and personal for over a decade on a daily basis. So whenever I get a chance to see that firsthand, it's just like, that's pretty badass.
They're so welcoming.
Oh God, yeah.
Like extremely welcoming.
Yep.
Their hospitality's on another level. I mean, I think everybody's walking away from this saying it was an amazing time out there, and it was a whirlwind. We were nonstop.
Oh God, yeah.
Early mornings, late nights. Got an hour of sleep before we got on the plane to come back. Literally ate pizza. If you watch Brian Shaw's channel, that section of one of the last videos he put out of us eating pizza, that was literally like an hour and a half before we went and got on a plane. We were eating at about midnight. That was after the Monday night squat session where we did box squats and a bunch of other accessory movements. And then the pizza finally showed up at about 11:30. 11:30, 12 o'clock, something like that. So we were up eating pizza until like 1:30, and then had to be up at 3 to get the rental car back and get on the flight back home. So I don't know about you, but like with having to work right away and catch up on yard work at home and softball with my kids, like I'm still exhausted from that. I was down. As soon as I hit that plane seat, that was all she wrote.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like I was kind of upset that we had to change planes because I didn't want to get up. I had that whole row to myself.
Yep.
And of course there's some guy, hey, can I sit there? It's like every fiber in my being wants to be like, no, you can't. I'm sleeping here. But of course I was like, yeah, you can, sure. And I moved over for him.
Right.
He was a nice guy. He probably thought I was a jerk.
Well, he's a good judge of character then.
I set that one up pretty good.
Pretty good.
So, like I said, I think it's safe to say, like, the worst moment, we probably have the same one.
Yeah.
Hit in the head with a Hercules hold.
Yeah, one of the implement safety mechanism failed, and we were on opposite ends, so we both got hit pretty much the same time. For me, that was the closest I've been to dying in a long time. I wasn't in the military, so I'm not combat. I never did any combat, so I was never like in those situations. Like,
well, that's a completely different situation.
Well, yeah, but still near death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's been that's the closest I've been to death in probably 20 years. So hopefully I don't ever get back that close anytime soon. But yeah, I was probably like no hyperbole. I was maybe 5 to 6 inches away from dying, getting killed by an implement. It sucked. It was like, it was so crazy because like I got hit in the head and I wasn't sure what hit me in the head.
Neither was I.
And then I looked down and the Hercules hold was in front of me instead of above me. And I was like, oh.
Where we had just put it.
Right, it was standing up a second ago and then I got hit in the head and then I looked down and it was there. I was like, oh, that's what hit me in the head. And so I'm walking away because I'm very pissed off and frustrated. And then I hear Nick yelling, like he was pissed off. I was like, man, Nick is in my like moment of semi-concussiveness, I was like, man, Nick is a really good friend. He's very upset that I got hit in the head. I mean, I'm very lucky to have a friend like this. Not knowing that Nick had also got hit in the head. I thought he was mad for me, but he was mad for himself.
I was walking behind him and I see Andy walking away like this. Like, I thought he scratched the back of his neck like, I'm done, I'm over it. And I'm like, man, what a good friend. He's mad that I got hit. Little did each of us know we'd both gotten hit.
And we were both mad for each other.
He got hit in like the back of the noggin, which is a pretty vulnerable spot. I took it straight to the front of the dome piece. And I was bleeding everywhere. I blew a blood clot out of my nose the next morning. So that's probably not good. It's still bruised. It's sensitive to the touch. Mm-hmm. At least like, I need to get some round glasses because I'm like one shaven face away from full-blown Harry Potter. But I'm bleeding, and Andy, we were concerned for Andy because he got hit in a vulnerable spot. That back of the skull, lower region, that's dangerous even to get punched in, much less hit with 500 pounds coming down at a free fall.
Right.
And Brian was looking at my skull. He's like, dude, your skull's hanging out.
I could see your bones.
And, but we just put some glue on it and went about our day. Definitely, that was a long drive home because every car that I passed was like super bright.
Yeah.
So that was sketchy.
Yep.
You got to sleep, but was your head hurting?
It was pretty bad. I wanted to sleep, but I was kind of afraid to sleep because if I did have a concussion, I didn't want to fall asleep. But like we probably hit the road, gosh, probably 10 hours, maybe even longer, 10 hours after we both got hit. So I never felt nauseous or anything like that. So I thought I was in the clear to take a couple hour nap on the way down the mountain. So fortunately I was able to do that, but Nick had to take the bullet and drive us down. Made it home safe and sound. So he knows how to drive concussed.
Yes, I do. I mean, that's probably double digits for concussions for me.
That makes, I would not argue. I mean, you've heard the way he talks. Like, I would be close. Would not be surprised if it was closer to like triple digits. But that's fine. For the record, we both got hit in the head / face / back of the head with 500 pounds, and neither one of us went down.
I got knocked out. I was knocked out standing. Like, I heard if you've ever been hit in the head really hard, there's a very distinct noise that it makes inside your body. And if it's happened to you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I heard that noise, and everything went white. Like, just straight flashed white. I don't know, it's when you get into that state, it's like a weird time warp.
Yeah, you don't know how long has passed.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell you if it was 5 minutes or 10 seconds. But once I regained sight, same thing. I saw the implement was on the ground. I was like, wait a minute. I just put that up. And then I looked and saw the anchoring mechanism was no longer on the ground or anywhere where it was supposed to be. And then 2 + 2 = 4. And then I'm like, something's in my eye. And I wipe my hand. and it's just red. And then I look down and I notice, oh, there's a pool of blood at my feet. And I look to my right, I think people in the crowd got splattered.
Yeah.
There was splatter a good 10 feet to my left. So it hit and just shot blood everywhere. My head exploded and made a mess. And there was a whole blood trail all the way back to the Suburban. And my skull was hanging out. And yeah, but I think it's pretty safe to say that we both had the same bad time at that moment.
Yep.
We can agree on that.
Yeah, so that was bad. The good was seeing Brian, Elzru, and Nick press the inch dumbbell. It's only 176, so it's not a huge weight in dumbbell, but it's more of the historical significance of it. A lot of people have done it, and
I never heard of it up until that point.
Right. So this is the dumbbell that they used to use for the dumbbell press at the Arnold. It was the Thomas Inch replica. So Zydrunas Savickas, Derek Poundstone, Phil Pfister, all the guys from the mid to late 2000s, so like 2005, 6, 7, 8, that were competing at the Arnold, the pinnacle of strength sports, were pressing the inch dumbbell and not pressing it well. They were struggling with it. It's a difficult implement, and I knew there was no question that both Nick and Brian were going to be able to press it. I just wanted them to do it to say, oh, yep,
yeah,
check that off the list.
It meant more to me that I did it because I knew how much it meant to Andy and Brian, because I know they're much more involved in the history and strongman and stuff because I'm still learning that stuff.
Yep.
But it was awesome to see how much it meant to them, so therefore it meant a lot to me. Because it was important to them.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, mine didn't get recorded.
Yeah.
I texted them when I was editing the last video I put out. I'm like, does anybody know where... Does anybody happen to have... Anybody happen to have the video of me pressing the dumbbell? And no one has it.
If it's not on video, it didn't happen, Nick. Sorry.
And it was one day James wasn't there filming.
Right.
But Brian got his.
Yep. And I think Brian and I are going to pitch on one to get at the gym here.
I'll just do it again.
Right, and for reps. It was the closest I've ever gotten to lifting that. That's been my nemesis for better part of 12
Pressing's
years.
Not your favorite.
Well, I'm not even talking about pressing. I'm talking about just picking it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a little bit of air under it.
Yeah.
And he got a breezeway under it.
Yeah, that was the closest I've ever been. I was able to lift the first blob. Brian has the blob 50, the first blob that I ever lifted. So every time I go, I make sure I lift that a few times. So that's always a good time. But yeah, I think Brian Elzru is going to be getting an inch dumbbell replica for Never Sate here. So we'll be able to get more people trying to pick it up, trying to press it.
I think
which is going to be awesome.
I think that perked up his grip strength just a little bit.
Yeah, and this is something like when Juji comes and visits, like instead of just having blobs or like rolling thunders, like the Thomas Inch is the pinnacle of grip, right up there with the blob 50 as far as world-class gold level grip stuff. So it's going to be pretty exciting when and if we get one in here. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Well, overall, it was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't be able to go if it weren't for this guy and Brian Elzru. So thank you guys for. I mean, it's crazy how that all worked out. We all met each other by accident, and now here we are. We spent a lot of time together.
Too much time. Yeah, it's just in life, a lot of times, like, there's these serendipitous moments that happen, and I met my wife because of one of those. I met Brian Shaw because of one of those. I met Brian Elzru because of one of those. I met Nick because of one of those. So, like, there's just these little events that when they happen, you're like, oh, this doesn't even mean anything, but when in fact it's like one of the top 5 moments of your life, you know what I mean? So just kind of embrace those situations after they happen and look back and be grateful that you've met amazing people and were able to do amazing things.
Yeah, and now we do all kinds of cool shit with each other.
Or dumb shit, whatever.
Or dumb shit. 42-second pauses. Not naming names, Andy.
Yep.
I'd name names. But that is about it. There will be a part 2 to this with Brian Elzru and I. So look for that in the near future. that will be coming at you, and that'll be a whole nother viewpoint of everything that happened. It'll be more good stories, because he had a good time as well. So, until the next time, you know what the deal is. Get out there, get after, and embrace the suck. Serendipity. I'm gonna do that again.
Embrace the serendipity. Whoa! Embrace the serendipity.
So you know what the deal is. Until the next time, get out there, get after it, and embrace the serendipity.
What?
Oh, damn it, son!